So, we've tried to balance the days and the movies that we're bringing you. So just like last night, we started with the first, with the 3D, and something that was a little more meditative, let's say. And then we balanced that with a very joyful tribute to Harold Ramis. Today, we're going to do something similar, because I love introducing movies that make us think. And one of the first movies that we had in the Roy Andersson trilogy was Songs from the Second Floor, which is probably one of my favorite movies, period. And I don't know why, but it just is. And so he had this trilogy of movies. We had the second movie, We the Living. And today, we're going to introduce A Pigeon Sat on a Branch Reflecting on Existence. And this is what he calls his trilogy on being a human being. I just think that's really neat. One of the things that I wanted to tell you about yesterday, and I realized that I do something here that's probably not fair to you, because we have, on the opening night, the reason that some of us, some of the sponsors and so forth, we're dressed up a little more on opening night, not just because it's opening night, but because the president has a reception for us. And so we get to bring the filmmakers and the sponsors together, and we have a little ceremony there, and we talk. So we get kind of all talked out, and then by the time we get here, I forget to tell you some of the things that we've already said over there. And right now, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just saying that because I realize that I forget to do that. And I forget that it's been a year since I've seen most of you. The interesting thing is, because I've done a lot of travel, I run into some of you at the airports. I love seeing you, and people come up and say, I go to Ebertfest. And so we immediately start talking, and sometimes once there was, I think he's a dentist or a dental surgeon or some sort of medical guy. And I met, and we ended up on the same plane, and we sat next to each other just randomly. And I lost my glasses, and I wondered if he took them. So if the dentist is here, and if you have my glasses, please give them to me, because I have like a astigmatism, so my glasses and my lenses are like very expensive, and I'm always leaving them on the airplanes. But I guess the dentist is not here. I hope he comes back, and maybe he has my glasses. What I want to do is tell you some things about vendors who help make this festival more convenient for you. We know that it's difficult to get to some of the restaurants, but if you look in the booklet, you'll see that there are some restaurants who sponsor things, and sometimes, those of you who have a pass for the full festival may not want to see all of the movies. Sometimes you may want to give your brain a rest, give your body a rest, give your stomach a rest, and go and do something. Sometimes I have known of people who've gone to see a play while they're in town, or have gone to listen to a musical experience that's happening either on campus or in town. This year, and each year we have Bertha's catering with the barbecue. She's been here so many years. Yeah, thank you. Let's clap for her. Yeah. Because it's not easy for Bertha to do that each time. And her daughter, who is like a PhD candidate in social science or psychology, and her son, who is a rated hockey player and is grown up. I've seen Marcus go from this to this, and I've been watching his hockey career. And they come back every year just to do Ebertfest. And so I know that I'm really happy that they do that. And this year, we have some new people joining. We have Hendrick House. Betsy Hendrick has her truck out there, right out there, so you can get food. It's easy. And another one of our sponsors, Steak and Shake, has this big, huge truck out there. You probably haven't seen it yet. They're just bringing it in now. I think they had to have it airlifted or something, but they're bringing, so we have, and one year we had bands playing out there. I would like to do that again next year. I want to work with the music department because I hear that there are so many really good, talented bands here, and I want to get some music out there again. So while you're eating, although, you know, I'm a little uncertain about it, and you have to let me know what you think, because some of you want to go, when you go out and you're eating, you just want to talk about the movies that you've seen, and so I don't know if music would interfere with that. Give me your thoughts. We have a new email address that I'd like for you to write to me, and I know I gave you one last year, and we were looking at your comments, and we took some down. Maybe the email address was a little difficult for some people, but this one is really easy. It's ebertfest@yahoo.com. ebertfest@yahoo.com. And if you write to us with your suggestions, and even though we choose the movies, we still listen to you when you tell us things that you'd like to see. And we still listen to you when you tell us some things to do in between. So ebertfest@yahoo.com, and tell me whether you think we should have music out on the quad or not. The other thing that we're doing is, and I want to tell you, it's so important for you to know, what I'm trying to do is maintain this sense of community, because I feed off of your energy when I'm here, and I try to give some energy out back. You know, Roger always said I was this little kind of, this woo-woo, touchy-feely person, and I still am. So, and now the thing is, I just don't apologize for it anymore. That's who I am, and that's actually why he loved me. So, and I know we have couples who have met here, who have dated. Some just had hookups. That's none of my business. We're not the, morals police. And then we had some who met and married here. And every year, I want to know, is a couple in particular who should be about their 9th year of marriage. Are they here this year? Oh, you're here. Will you stand up? Stand up, please. Oh, I love it. Both of you stand, please. Now, this is still your wife, right? Okay. It's going to be real hard for you to ever try to sneak a girlfriend in here. So don't even think about it. What's your name? Daniel and Janet Weber. Let's give them a hand. Okay. And is this your 9th year of marriage? 11. Okay. Ooh. So, okay. For those of you who are looking for love, if you come to Ebertfest, it tends to be a lasting kind of love. All right, 11 years. You get to choose. I have 3 gifts that I want to give people. I have either the Blu-ray of Life Itself, the DVD of Life Itself, or the hardback book of Life Itself. I have Life Itself. So which would you like? Blu-ray, you got it. Okay. All right. You're welcome. The Webers. I'm so happy. You just make me smile. Roger loved that. He loved it. That you guys sort of fell in love and you got married and you come back every year. Thank you. And then there are other couple who didn't meet here, but they met in Roger's film class. And we went to their wedding, and they are still married. Chuck and Eileen, where are you? Chuck, stand up, please. And just to tell you, we're going to movies together. And coming to Ebertfest or being around the Eberts means, how many years have you been married? 24 years, okay. Now, we know that, the film critic David Poland, he's not here this year, and we miss him. I don't know why David didn't come this year, but if anybody's doing social media, tweet out, David Poland, why aren't you here? And you should have been, and make sure you get yourself here next year. David Poland has the most beautiful son, he and his wife. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name right now, but Heather, right, a beautiful name, how could I forget? Their son is so gorgeous. He was conceived right here at Ebertfest. That's a true story. True story. All right. Now, I know that, what? Maybe he didn't come back, maybe he wasn't ready to have a second child yet, but I tell you, there is a sense of family here that I love, and I want to continue, and if it ever seems like it's not that way, you let me know. You write to me at ebertfest@yahoo.com, and you say, it seems like we're getting away from that. And at first, Roger and I used to laugh about it, and we'd say, we just like it. We just love the feeling that everybody is friendly with each other, and they come back and they talk to each other, and when they're out in line and they sit out there, that's why we like having the food trucks out, so you don't have to try to run too far away. And that's why we also decided to keep the film festival centered right here at the Virginia Theater, so you don't have to run all over town. Oh, you like that? Okay. We didn't want you to have to run all over town. Some film festivals, they're bigger, they show more movies, but to get from point A to point B is stressful, and we wanted to eliminate that kind of stress so that you can just float on the good vibes that you get at the festival. And so the one thing that I do encourage you to do, though, I was walking around the corner at the Art Theater, and they have some movies that I want to see. So this Sunday, instead of going back to Chicago, I'm staying over next week to have some meetings about the Ebert Center, and I'm hoping that some of the movies at the Art Center will continue to play through the weekend, because once I get through, maybe Sunday night, after Ebertfest is over, I'll go around the Art Theater and see another movie. So, I know people used to think that was funny. They said, oh, why am I talking with two microphones? People would say, Roger, do you ever, when you and Chaz just go on vacation, do you ever stop and go and see movies, or is it like that's the busman's holiday, you really don't want to see movies? And he said, yeah, we do sometimes. We do a lot of other things. We also go to the opera or walk along the beach, or, do whatever, go to the theater or just visit friends, or sometimes just sit in used bookstores and read books. But we would go see movies. And one of the movies that we would see, that we actually saw twice, we saw it while we were on vacation. Once we saw it in Venice, Italy, and then we also saw it in Venice, California, is Henry Jaglam's movie, Deja Vu. And that's the movie about sort of this magical, it's about love and magical realism. And it was a movie that, I talked about it a little bit in a blog recently, because I was trying to analyze why we loved that movie so much. And then it was only after Roger passed away that I realized it was about love that reached out across the ages. And the couples in that movie were maybe together in previous lives. And that's the way I feel about Roger. I really do think that we were together in previous lives, and I do think that our conversation, I know that our conversation and our relationship is continuing. And when I do need help and I call out to him and talk to him, somehow he finds a way to respond back. So I think that that's one of those movies like that. And somebody was interviewing me recently, and they were asking, they had heard the story about a Christmas dinner that I gave at our house. And we had Michael Phillips from the Chicago Tribune and A.O. Scott from the New York Times. They were our dinner guests. And this was after Roger lost his ability to speak. And I think I was on the lower level, and he was on, we have like a catwalk in our house, and he was standing up on the catwalk on the upper level, looking down at us at the dinner table, and we started talking to each other, and we started laughing. And then I said, okay, I'll get it, because he was telling me something, and Michael Phillips and Tony Scott were looking at each other, puzzled, quizzically, and it occurred to me, and they said, what are you two doing? And I said, well, we're talking. And they said, but Roger can't speak. He can't speak, and he doesn't have his computer. So how are you talking? And it never even occurred to us. We had developed this little kind of mental telepathy that we used to speak to each other, but we weren't aware of it because it just seemed natural to us to do. And sometimes we would be in different rooms, and one would ask the other to come in, and we would go. And I said, oh, thank you. How did you know? He said, I don't know. You told me to come. So sometimes things like that happen, and it's not, and that really is not woo-woo. That is also, one day we're going to find out through the rules of physics that is so natural and normal. Just like we didn't know until we harnessed electricity that there were little things going through the air that would help us have light, but we didn't know. And that's a rule, it's scientific. And this is scientific, so I don't even know how I got on that. But it's time to just introduce the movie. I'm very pleased to have with us, oh, no, the other thing that I wanted to tell you, because I want to make sure these people do such a good job of getting our merchandise together and our books, and I want you to know, right back there in the East Lobby, last night I called it the West Lobby, but in the East Lobby, we have a setup where you can get a cup if you want coffee. They sell the cup, but then you only have to pay $1 for the coffee, and it's the honor system. We also have the concession stand that the Virginia Theater has with popcorn. Back in the East Lobby, we have books, T-shirts, mugs, everything. We have, I see Professor Rindleman there. We have his book called Rule of Thumb. We have Roger's books, several books, and we have Matt Zolerseis's book on Wes Anderson. And I forget who else's book is there, but we have them. I would also like, if you are so inclined, we have a table back there that has little pamphlets about the Ebert Center. And this year, I try not to make pitches for things, but this year is so important to get the support of the Ebert Center so we can get it up and running. So if you just take a pamphlet, look at it, and see if there's any way that you can help, or if you know of anyone you want to pass it along to, will you do that? Okay, now it is time for the movie. And we have with us, flown in from Sweden, Johan Carlsson. He's a producer of the Roy Andersson movies. He's a native of Sweden and has worked as Roy Andersson Film Production since 1990 as production manager, assistant director, and currently as a line producer. His credits include A Pigeon Sat on a Branch Reflecting on Existence, You, the Living, Songs from the Second Floor, and World of Glory. He has also directed short films, commercials, and a documentary, Tomorrow is Another Day, that was in 2011. Please help me welcome Johan Carlsson.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I hope you will enjoy the film. I think if you have seen a Roy Andersson movie before, you will recognize yourself. I think, recognize some of the themes and also the visual style, but hopefully you feel that it's fresh and new and so. And if you have not seen a Roy Andersson movie, you will not recognize yourself at all. This will be a new. I think you will like it, but it's something that you have not seen before. We worked 4 years with this film, and that doesn't mean that we worked 3.5 years with financing and script and so on, because we started to do scenes, to make tests from almost day one of these 4 years. So it's a special working process behind this film also. But, and as you know, if you have questions after the screening, I will be here to try to answer them as good as I can. All right, thank you.